Good evening. It is April 21st, a Tuesday night. I'm Glenda Carlin, and this is our weekly Zoom, A Course in Miracles, and Tibetan Buddhist get together. Welcome, God Ed. Welcome, God Leon. Welcome, God Angela. Welcome, God Lynn. Welcome, God D. Welcome, God Glenda. And Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, and the enlightened beings. Please help me, guide me what to do or say, and help those here and those that listen to the video later to have their insights or whatever items that their ears see and it means something to them and can help them in their awakening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I did that on purpose, ears see and eyes hear, because typically we're caught in the conditioned habits of old timey seeing, hearing, smelling, thinking, where we just allow those sensations in our mind to just carry on conversations, glue conversation together where we're labeling, naming, sorting, and commenting on the arisings that occur in front of our face and in our mind. But in awakening, Ed and I were just talking about this, in awakening, what's different, the ordinary things out in front of your face or uh, your life doesn't really change, except, of course, you feel different. You feel interconnected with God and all your brothers and sisters. But what's different is you are awake. You are awake and lucid and alert to each thing that's arising. There is um, no sleepiness, no thought of, because that's the old way of thinking and being and sleepwalking, just being a slave to the six senses instead of being master of the ship, alert and lucid to what is coming and going, and realizing when you have attachment or aversion and let go. Is that simple? But we don't make it simple. I keep that, so that I'll give the topic of tonight is two things really, is that due to this band of an entire width of light went through my body from my head to my toes after I had let go of some more thoughts of a separate self and separate others. And due to this, I've never felt a wide band as wide as my body of light just come through. It's only in the last few weeks come through my head, in through my head, down my head, through my whole, now down to through my toes, head to toes. And but it could only occur because I had let go of more thoughts of being a separate self, a Glenda in a body, and separate others out there. Two times within this I think last week I covered this, but I did the same thing this week. I silently talked to myself and said, um, basically, that enough is enough. And I talked about this last week, but I did it a second time this week. Silently had a conversation with myself. Enough is enough with this roller coaster of emotions. And and I could sense it because I was having expectations of some of my loved ones. And because of wearing this sleep mask, my awareness is getting keener and keener, more hyper aware of what the mind's thinking and what I'm agreeing with and how I'm feeling. Well, I realized I was having expectations on my loved ones. Now, my whole life I've had expectations on my loved ones that they needed to act a certain way or I wasn't going to, or we'd have a little talk or etc. And you can still have your conversations, don't get me wrong. but it's how we are how we play the hand. Are we playing it with empathy and compassion as we talk with our loved ones about any changes or anything that need to be talked about? But what I'm discussing here is a lofty, high realization that, because I've never ever really said I've had expectations of my loved ones. I've never said it that way. And because I've never really got down deep about what the mind's doing, what this egoic mind is doing of self. There's me and there's others. That's dualism, two-ness. But when I do that sleep mask, I'm aware of these expectations because they're small little thoughts of something I want a person to do, which in the big scheme of things, I could just get washed all over. And then I'd still be having them in my unconscious mind. Are y'all with me? You know what I'm talking about? You know, because this is getting like finely ground barley flour, it's called, grains of these obscurations that are holding me back from being 100% present with what's going on and me being inner being with God's presence. Now, why this also came up, I saw a post on Facebook where Lama Surya Das was quoting Diljo Khyentse Rinpoche. That's this gentleman, this holy, holy, holy enlightened being that had over 60,000 people go to his cremation ceremony. I mean, he taught. I think he taught. I guess shouldn't say that because I'm not sure, but he taught. So he teaches Sochen. But anyway, here's this quote: the practice, the practice of Dharma. That means these truths, like Jesus's truths, should bring you to the point where you can maintain the same constant awareness, whether in or out of practice sessions. Now, I'm going to stop and repeat that. Where you can maintain the same, our practice, whatever you practice you got, reading these truths, contemplating them, integrating them in your life, meditating. Our practice should be bringing us to where we're able to maintain the same constant awareness, whether in or out of practice sessions. Well, let me tell you, that wasn't what I was experiencing. And why it became obvious to me, this was on Friday the 17th. I read that. But on Wednesday the 15th, I had a retreatment of a root canal. And I'm gonna cover it real quick because I didn't know what this meant. I had a root canal on a tooth and was when I assumed when they did the root canal, that was it, folks. But no, there can be secondary roots in a tooth. And a secondary root had got infected. So that's retreatment. They had to go in, remove the whatever they inserted in the original root canal, clean out this other root, and then refill it, etc. It and I asked the dentist when he was done, how long did this take? And it was an hour and 10 minutes. So and it's an upper tooth. So I'm sitting in the dentist chair for an hour and 10 minutes. And the drill, he showed me the bit. The bit's teeny tiny, about an inch long, but teeny tiny in diameter. And he had on his hand a little cup that had holes in it where there's all sizes of little bits. And he'd go reach and get a bit, change in his little drill and go back to work. Well, and above the dentist chair was a video playing about animals, birds, and um, yeah, dogs, cats, birds, reptiles, funny things. Funny things. And then on another screen, they had a Zoom going on of two bald eagles out in California that's got two new little baby chicks, right? So there's a lot of action going on, a lot of arisings, it's called. And so Timo with our meditation group, he'll ask once in a while, ask us, just consider what part of the day are you actually awake to what's going on? Well, yeah, I've never really calculated it. But when I was in that dentist chair, man, my mind, my mind, I was practicing something. I was practicing a quote, which I had read from another Rinpoche that I'd read that morning of the when I had the root canal, and this is it: the primordial ground, the great ever pure primordial emptiness, which is free from all elaboration and change, is the very nature of uncompounded and self arising awareness. Bless me so that I may recognize the view, my very own nature. So I was, the part of this post, I was saying to myself when I was sitting there, laying there in that chair, in of course, you got glasses on, but you're looking up and seeing these, his hand going in my mouth and the drilling going on, hearing the drilling. 50% of the time, I was able to rest in this clear light of the primordial emptiness. Emptiness means it's pure, not obscured by any images or any thoughts. It's pure. It's the clear light's its glow. It's pure. That's God's presence. So I would know it. I would feel it. I'd lean back. I was resting in that purity, in that clear light. And then, bam, there'd be a thought. I'd see drill bit, or I'd see an animal. So I calculated I was about 50% present, meaning aware, resting in this clear light. That's our beingness, interbeing with God, right? Um, so see, what I realized is kind of happening. This was kind of building to a crescendo the last few months and the last few weeks, and now these last few days. But is that due to that sleep mess, though, and me continuing to practice that seeing through the images to their clear light essence, whether it's a TV characters or family members or my condo board people or people driving cars, whatever, seeing through, being through these images to see the light in everything and everyone. That's the main practice of the Course of Miracles and Dzogchen. Trechet, seeing through, being through these images. And me resting with that, I would just say it to you, the great, ever pure, primordial emptiness. Because primordial means the beginningless beginning before this universe was manifested, where you rest in that. And that because every image that got manifested was generated out of the clear light and is liberated back to the clear light in the same like instant. So in essence, it cancels itself out. The great ray, the downward descending thing generates the image, and the upward movement liberates, expands the image where it's back to the clear light. So it's never existed, never really existed. This is just a fleeting image, a holographic image, just a real vibrating image. But now, why I keep it covering this is I hope each of you sit with this because this is our nature. This clear light essence is our nature and the nature, the view your God eyeball sees. It looks out and sees itself. It sees its clear light essence. Well, as I was contemplating this, resting in this, thinking about, well, about 50% of the time, my awareness is inner being with God's presence. That's when I realized I had expectations on my loved ones, on some of my loved ones. And so, see, the Course talks about reasoning with yourself. This is the highest kind of investigation or getting insight. What I'm talking about is not really intellectual. This is wisdom. You're getting your insights and you're becoming wise how this mind works and what this magic show is. So other times when I'd be watching TV, I would practice what Buddha said was there's nothing to see and no one seeing it. Nothing to hear and no one hearing it. It's huge. Those two signs are very huge. If you could practice that, you'll save yourself some years of work here. There's nothing to see and no one seeing anything. Nothing to hear and no one hearing anything. There's just seeing, just hearing, just thinking, just tasting, without all that elaboration going on with it, all that comment going on. We're just experiencing those senses while while we know our physical body does not exist. Now, uh, this is the crux that I came to. How could I have an expectation of a family member if I didn't think their body existed? And how else could I have an expectation on them unless first I believed I was a body, a glint body, a self, and I had an expectation on another body. So that's the precise reason why we had the fall from grace. The Son of God believed he was a body and then believed there were other bodies. So they before then they were just clear light coming and going. There was just union, one two-ness, even though there was vibrating images coming and going, because they hadn't the Son of God's mind knew he was clear light and not these images. But when he fell asleep into loving an individual body and then another body, he got two-ness. So I sat with that. How can I have an expectation on something that doesn't exist? Wow. It like wham, just kind of hit me between the eyes. Right, because it doesn't exist. And then I sat with the great ray that comes in my crown chakra. And the great ray comes down, descends, and generates this form. And then it goes up and liberates the form in a split second. And that's happening in supersonic, I don't even know the word for it. Generate, liberate, generate, liberate, generate, liberate, to the point we think we look solid, but in that big, I don't know, that big force field that's somewhere in the Scandinavian country where they take an atom and blow it apart and they're just space. I mean, they're just vibrating space. Okay. And then, so then when I would look at objects on the TV, there's nothing there and no one seeing it. So, see, that had me look at me, the perceiver, me, the looker, me, the seer, because there's a pith instruction. Pith instruction means it's just a precise instruction gurus give their students. And here, I hope I get it fairly close to what they say. It says, see through the seer and be free. And then this other holy being, his name was Dudjom Rinpoche. He says, look at the one who is looking. Look at the one who is looking. Okay, so when I was sitting there looking at the TV, and you're talking to yourself, there's nothing to see and no one's seeing anything. And so then you're looking, then, well, what am I seeing? Then you're remembering it's the clear light. God's presence is this clear light. this emptiness, pure emptiness, and you're looking at that. You're looking at that. But what could occur if you want to? It's called awareness being aware of itself, or the seeing through the seer and being free. So awareness can turn its awareness on itself and look right at itself and look at awareness, that it's awareness, Christ, Buddha, God awareness, that's looking out through it's not really these two eyes anymore, but it's looking out through your God eyeball, but through the eyes. Oh, capital A, awareness is looking out. If if you've turned ordinary awareness back on your Christ Buddha awareness and kind of be there for a moment, and see, this builds on itself too, because then you can go turn awareness back on itself and look. So I'll just explain the first time that ever happened to me. After a guru said, turn your awareness upon itself, quickly turn your awareness on itself, I saw my body, my complete body, jump out in front of me and was facing me. My body was facing me, and my eyes were looking into my eyes, which that's awareness looking back at awareness. The two eyes looking back at the God, Christ, Buddha awareness. But anyway, that was occurring for me, that when I looked at this seer, I saw this clear light in my mind and knew that was the seer. This clear light's the seer, the clear light of Christ Buddha. That's the seer. And when it looks out, it just sees itself. So it sees clear light. It sees the presence of God everywhere, but yet plays with the images on the screen, the magic show. But when I would, since the last couple of days or so, I am experiencing that I know I'm just playing with the images. They're really not there. This is just a magic show. There's just totally God's clear light. Now, that can spook people, because that can cause a person to become fearful that they have to give up their body or give up whatever. That's not what this means. We give up, we give we still maintain the form. We don't put it in harm's way. We feed it, clean it, have it, let it have fun. We all do that. We make our choices, but yet we know it doesn't exist. It's a hologram vibrating, that the real essence is God, clear light. Until that's made, I'm still thinking subject, object, perceiver, and perceive. You can't, that's two-ness. You won't be waking up completely from this dream. You'll just be more lucid. I'm wanting you to wake up completely from the dreamlike condition, to know that you are dreaming, to know that you see this dream that's playing out in front of you like a Easter parade, or it's a magic show of images that just come and go. Because if they were uh, permanent, they wouldn't come and go. No, they're imaginary. They're an illusion. All those words Jesus uses in the course, but I've now got down to the nit grit of this. And it's called stabilizing this view, because I read this and I knew, hey, I wasn't maintaining the same constant awareness, whether I was on the meditation cushion or off of it. That's why we have notes around the house reminding us of these truths we want to practice during the day. And so it was really wonderful that I recognized I had these expectations of my loved ones. So I I let go. I let go of the expectations that I had of them. I let go thinking that they were really there, that they're a body. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. that my body's a body that's a vibrating image. That's the reality. The reality is the clear, pure light. This clear light, spaciousness, this vast spaciousness, uncluttered by obscurations, uncluttered by judgments and evaluations and comments, just purity. Now, what came to mind is oh, when before when I realized at the dentist chair later, I was 50-50 in awareness, is at will, meaning I could take my attention and I could at will rest in the clear light. But that's one of, for me, one of the stages prior to being with the clear light. So, and another thing that helped me get to this, what I'm just describing to you, which is a culmination of the practice, is remember I showed you that picture last week of the tower of the chakras, the fully open chakras that are the width of the body, layered petals of light energy, all these colors, blue, green, white, red, orange, yellow. They're a tower because we are a light being. We are a light being. Because see, I was sitting with that image, seeing my what my real nature, this nature looks like inside a body where the chakras are awake and open. Um, I'm looking at my notes. And uh, prior to the part about seeing through the seer, knowing that I had done that, is on Thursday. So the root canal was Wednesday. Then Thursday, there was a board meeting here at the condo. And at the board meeting, there was a significant item that wasn't on the, that would be coming up. And I was wanting to gather information. It's about our roofs needing to be replaced here at our two big buildings. And the roofs are going to cost from 500 to $630,000, depending on what the tariffs do to the cost of all this stuff they got to use and labor, whatever. And and where I'm coming from, because it's such an elaborate, such a big cost, and it's a polyurethane floating roof. It's very unusual. I mean, not unusual, but it's commercial kind of roof on steel reinforced concrete base. But my late husband and I's business for 35 years, we manufactured geodesic dome building panels, steel reinforced concrete on blocks of EPS insulation. So my background is really roofs, really concrete and steel, et cetera. Not urethane, but close enough. But I know how meticulous all this stuff can be. You don't get the right person to do the work. You can just have it can, you know how that goes. You can have all kinds of issues. But there are consulting firms, this is their dang job. They know, they take a core sample of whatever your roof is, and then they can do a bid criteria. Then bids go out to 12 14 companies, and they're all bidding on apples to apples. That's the approach I'm wanting, because then you know whether you're getting good bids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to go on the whole thing, but the thing is, even though we're awake from the dream or we're awakening, we still work and handle our daily issues. We still handle. So as I'm talking to these people, I'm thinking about them as the light they are, and Holy Spirit help me for the meeting. Holy Spirit help me. I don't want to make anybody upset. Help me. I want to ask some questions, etc. And something unique happened as I was talking after the meeting with different people. It was like I was following breadcrumbs. One conversation whatever would happen in that conversation, my response would be based on that conversation. Then another person might join in that's standing there, and there'd be different comments made, and a little breadcrumb, a little thought would be said, and that would lead me to respond a certain way. And that's how the flow was going. I've never felt this before. It was just all kind of moving around in among three or four, five different people. And that is being 100% fully present with what you're doing while you're doing it. But I've never experienced it that way before because I'd never really been 100% fully present with what I was doing with four or five people going on at one time. And I was just following the breadcrumbs. That's what came to me later. So there's a huge advantage to being in the now, being in the moment, being seeing the light in everyone and everything, and knowing what awakened living means. It nothing really changes out there other than you are awake, aware, and lucid to what's going on in every moment while you inner be with God's presence. That though, but the inner being with God's presence takes precedent. And then these other images will be in the ultimate awakening. Not ultimate, I don't know. I mean, they're just coming and going, and you know they don't exist, but yet you're working with them to get with empathy and compassion to get whatever job that needs to be done that you're involved in, whether it's your volunteerism or your work or your family. Now, something came to mind right then is, well, I'll come back. Um, let's go to my notes here. So then so 417 is when that big wave, oh wait, so prior to 417, the last few days before then, that's when I realized I had the expectation on my loved ones, and I was letting go of that and letting go of them being bodies, seeing the clear light. There wasn't even a body left on them. They were the clear light, and my body clear light because because that's how it is in the magic show. But anyway, so then picture I was letting go of this. This will be the hardest thing you ever do. Let go of the sense that you're a self, a separate self, and let go of your sense there are other separate bodies or objects out there. That'll be the hardest thing you got to do. And you'll let go little by little by little as you feel comfortable with this. But that's the main big that's the deconditioning of this mind, habitual tuneness mind that's full of subjects and objects, me and them. I am here and I want that from them. Subject to, we can still plan and do things, but you're doing it with lucidity. But so what I want to get at is this left space, an opening within my mind, body, and continuum because I had let go of more, deeper and deeper beliefs in a separate self, and my family and loved ones were bodies, objects out there. And I was a body out there. You with me? And a universe out there. So picture there's space. There's openings in my body. So that great wave, wham, it decides it's coming in. And as wide as my body to finish filling it with light, those spaces that opened up. Because our judgments, evaluations, and all those things clog up our mind body continuum, all the chakras and all the stuff. That's just the way it is. Because we're not allowing things unless, as you awaken, you start to allow things to come and go without evaluating and labeling them. Because evaluating and labeling adds karma to you. If I do it, that adds karma to me. Yeah. So as your awareness gets more keen, you're aware, I'm aware when I'm labeling something. Because that doesn't, just because uh, I'm getting more awake, doesn't mean I can't fall in a heartbeat to the thought that something's good or bad and glue on to something. But what's different with this awareness, this intrusion is so obvious, real quick, it evaporates, it dissolves, it because awareness is curative, it will burn it off. Just, awareness will do that. So then the mind body continuum isn't clogged back up. You get it clean, you don't want to clog it back up. um, as a result of more light in my body, that's why I could feel like the Buddha from the ground up, from a ground up. It's a solid, a Christ from the ground up, an embodied Christ or Buddha. Now, see, this is where it gets a little complicated because I've been talking to you about there's nobody out there. There's no bodies. Well, in the awakening, what's occurring though, this form is getting transformed, transmuted, and there's some more words that I'm not sure might be transubstantiated. I'm not sure, but iron is transmuted to gold. Our ordinary awareness is being transmuted, awakened, transformed, uh, to unveil our capital A God, Christ, Buddha awareness, which is this also this clear light. Its awareness is this clear light, this emptiness too. Oh, so none of this exists except it, but at the same time, you become an embodied Christ and Buddha that's walking around. You're an embodied Christ Buddha, where you're back to your natural state. Your breath has rejoined with this prana energy coming in your body. Your heart, mind have rejoined this natural body that's filled with the light occurs. So it's natural body, natural heart, mind, natural breath and energy that's walking around, but it's really walking around clear light. And you know it doesn't exist. That's the difference because I didn't have I hadn't totally let go that that it, because I got involved with the embodiment of the Buddha. You with me? Embodiment of the Christ. Oh, so then when I was at my sink the other day, is I recognized I was eating something, my kitchen sink. I was eating something and I thought, and I was just tasting it. I was just tasting it. And then when I looked out, I just was seeing this clear light. And then I was just hearing silence. See, that's a natural effect from this practice of seeing the light in everyone and everything. Then we're operating from just the sensations are just it's a process. Just there's a process, there's hearing going on, there's seeing going on, there's thinking going on, and it just naturally occurs and it comes and goes, and we experience it without labeling it, without falling into I like it, I want it, or I don't like it, I don't want it. You know what I mean? So it's it so and what this has resulted in is just beingness, just this interbeing with the clear light, no matter what's going on. That's the foundation. That's where I'm coming from. But yet I see the images come and go. But no, they don't exist. Oh, so what occurred to me, the word relationship, that the fall from grace was when I gave up my relationship with God, where I loved Him only, and I fell in love with a body and then fell in love with another body. probably Adam and then Eve. I'm not sure, but the body, which ones? But I fell in love with a body, an object, and forgot all about my love for God. So what's happening in this awakening, we're recultivating a relationship back with God and a relationship with our higher Christ Buddha nature to unveil it. So what I realized, my relationship is with God. That solves everything. I'm interbeing with God's presence. That's the awakened state, a full relationship with God, being with God's presence. And that gets cultivated because you start to feel and see the gap between thoughts and the gap between your breaths. And last week we read a section out of that Buddha Standard Time book where it's like, can you just kind of rest in that gap between thoughts and feel that spaciousness? Just breathe, smile, and relax. And you feel spaciousness. You're relaxed into spaciousness. That spaciousness is God's presence that I'm talking about. And that builds on itself where then 24/7, you're being, inner being with that God presence. You're sitting back on the throne, being with God's presence. Just hearing, just seeing, just thinking. We still have those six senses, but we're no longer entangled with all those. Oh, um, I don't know. Let's see what else is on the list. How are we doing on time? Oh, so as I walk around now, or now, just breathe. What's happening? I'm just breathing and being. That's what I sent. Just breathing and being. As I walk around, just just breathing and being. Because the breath, just the not the awareness of a breath brings you into the now moment, and you can pause right there and just be with God's presence. It's here because it's the only way it can be. There's only God's presence. All the rest of this has just been a made up magic show, an illusion, a hologram, right? Yep. Well, that could. Let's see what we got here. I'll requote this about the mind. This is on Facebook, my Facebook page, Glenda Carlin, Busick. There's this post from DUDJOM that I reshared Rinpoche, and his photo's there. And this post says, look at this photo. So you look at his picture. Then the next statement is, then look at your mind. So you got to look, you got to turn, and you got to look at your mind. Anyway, that's what I did. Turn and look at your mind. Look at, I put the turn in there. Look at your mind. Look at the one who is looking. If you see this, you are the excellent one. So you're seeing through the seer. Because we've been looking out with dualistic eyeballs. We've just been looking out there with our attention fully out there. We're turning the searchlight inward. This is an inside job. This is an inward but ultimately there's no in or out. But first you're making the inward journey. where you're turning your awareness back on itself to see itself, and then looking out. You can just fake it while you make it. You just look out and see clear light. And that's capital A awareness doing that, seeing the clear light. Because in the Course of Miracles, Holy Spirit, Jesus writes about Holy Spirit is quote says, looks out and sees itself. Well, that's the same thing as Christ, Buddha, God, seeing purity. Doesn't see no obscuration. No, these images that come and go, our evaluations, our judgments don't stain this luminous mirror, this luminous, pure essence that is God's purity. But it's forever making items. So it's got and it just was making these items for us to play with, to experience being our awareness within a body, to feel the love we had for God and we have for ourselves, just feeling the love God had for us. Through the body, we feel when we are awake to it, we feel whole, we feel complete, we feel full of God's clear light. That's the experience of Christ, Buddha, God awareness within a form. It's aware of itself. It feels itself. That energy is expanding and contracting through your form. It expands and contracts throughout the whole universe in unison. You are not alone. Each part contains the whole. We're all expanding and contracting together. We're all in this together. But it's expanding and generating and liberating in split seconds. So in essence, nothing ever really occurred. Generated, liberated. It cancels it out. Our images are generated out of clear light, out of compressed clear light that's compressed into various colors to make each form. But then on the upward swing of the great wave, it takes the pressure off those light particles, and they liberate, they expand, and then they liberate back to the clear light from which they were manifested from. The clear light never left itself. That we fell asleep to that principle, to that process, and start hanging on to these images that are out there. And in particular, our family, our loved ones, where we have believed they're out there and we have expectations. I did expectations of them because that's natural. This culture teaches that, but whatever. Anyway, but freeing ourselves from the belief in a separate self and separate objects, separate others, is the fundamental letting go that will release you to this clear light. Allow it to be unveiled. Right now, it's just obscured by all these thoughts of separation, of being a body, a self. We're letting go of that as you feel comfortable with. And you're asking the Holy Spirit to help you. You're not making some big blanket statement. Man, I want to be done with all these thousands of years of judgments I've had at one point. No, I never said that to Holy Spirit. These are, as you feel comfortable, you let go of what images come to mind, because that's why we meditate. Images will be brought up out of the unconscious mind that we need to let go of. And we let go of them by seeing through them, Trechet or Jesus' advanced forgiveness, seeing through them to their light essence over and over and over and over and over and over until that builds momentum, stabilizes, and then we do big jumps where you're looking through the whole planet Earth, seeing the clear light expand and contract through planet Earth, then through the universe. It's one big cleaning. We don't have to cut through every individual item except for the ones that show up in your meditation. I would journal those and go down through them thinking of them as clear light and telling them, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me. If I'd known better, I would have done better. If you'd known better, you would have done better. You are the light of spirit, whole, pure, and innocent. Whatever practice you want to practice. But we're not doing some big cleaning, because that can be cause a person to be off kilter and can really send them to a psych ward. You if you and enough, sometimes these images that come up from the past can be, so you need a licensed therapist to help, because you never people that have abuse in their background, that is not something that can easily be let go of. They need professional help while they practice these clear light practices and the Dharma and the truths in the Course in Miracles. Thank you for coming out tonight. You all, any thoughts or questions before I stop the recording? So let's go around the room doing our forgiveness practice, our advanced Trekchod, Trekchod, means seeing through, being through, thinking of our brothers and sisters as gods and goddesses walking this holy earth. But at the same time, you're waking up to it's all a dreamlike thing, that none of this exists. But to get to that point, you've got to see it as light. Each these things is the clear light essence they are. There's God Ed, God Lynn, God Angela, God Leon, God Dee, God Debbie, God Glenda. Those that aren't here present with us, we'll send our well wishes and thoughts out to all that war zone areas, those that are having health issues or their families are having health issues. Be with them, help them, guide them what to do or say. Help these wars come to a conclusion. Ukraine and Russia, US, Iran, Israel, Lebanon, the Middle East issue. It's a war. Let this war come to an end. Help the people in Africa not have conflict, and let girls go to school and not be mutilated and bothered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. I love you all. Thank you for coming out. It means so much to me. It really, really helps me. Good night, man. Record. Stop recording.